Wow! What's up? It's me, Mystic, and my TV in the background and my holiday decorations. I hope you all are having a fantastic Tuesday. It's been a whirlwind, but we're here. We made it, and it's monthly minutes time. You know what that means. It's a chat show. We're here to talk with the cast and talk with Steph about the Dread TTRPG that we did in October. It was a while ago, but hopefully y'all remember. So without further ado, why don't we bring in our lovely, lovely cast? First off, there's gnats in my house. First off, on the stream, we have Steph!
Hi!
Woo! And Liz!
Hey!
Ed! We're all here. And we're all here to talk about games. TTRPGs and the loveliness that we create with them. So, hi, hello, how are you all? How's it going?
Doing pretty good.
It's been a week. It's good.
PAX is coming!
PAX is so soon.
God,
PAX is this
I'm
week.
terrified.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I get to see Steph in person.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited too.
This is going to be amazing.
Cool. Well, this is also our first fully public monthly minutes. This used to be a Patreon reward, but we're bringing it to the world fully public and up and out there. So if this is your first time tuning in, hi, hello, welcome. We're just gonna have like a very uncurated chat, although I will try and drive a conversation in some kind of way. I don't have notes. I don't have a lot to add, honestly, probably. And it's really for us to get to know what was going through the cast's mind at these moments. What were they thinking? How was their character thinking and feeling? And we'll answer your questions. So if you have any questions for anyone about the stream or the podcast episodes we're going to talk about, feel free to pop them in the chat and we will try and answer those as they come in. So just put them in the chat. What are you waiting for? So without further ado, let's talk about Adam's beautiful Dread TTRPG game.
Oh my god, that was so much fun.
It was.
Yeah,
That's cool as shit.
it was really cool. I obviously didn't lead that game, so I don't have any questions from like a game master perspective, but I can also say that it was really fun. How did you all think about like creating your characters for this one?
Funny story.
And why don't you lead with that one?
I jokingly said we should make everyone a Scooby-Doo character, and then horrifyingly all of you agreed.
I was so in. I was in as soon as I read it. I'm like, that's such a fabulous idea.
That you didn't expect us to like fully go along with this is like I feel like we've been playing for a while now. Like, of course we would go all in. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, we're the Scooby Gang. Great. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think maybe Liz and I had a conversation about like not being super familiar with that like franchise. Like I know of it, but I am not like I wasn't super into that. Yeah.
It was like peripheral.
Yeah.
Like I know it because of pop culture, but I never like watched Scooby-Doo growing up.
Yeah.
See, I've been watching it for a few years with my kid, so it's like it was fresh in my mind. I'm like, yes, I can do this. I can build a character off one of these characters.
Hell yeah.
It's easy.
They were so good too.
I realized during this stream that I know much more about Scooby-Doo than anyone else in my life, and it's never been on purpose. Like literally, like I feel like I've been in the Matrix or Gaslit. Like I was talking to my mom about it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you had that Scooby-Doo car as a kid," and I'm like, "What Scooby-Doo car?" Like I'm going through, and there was much more Scooby-Doo in my life than I ever remembered or cared about. I felt horrified. Like I felt like I was discovering a repressed memory.
Well, it didn't take long for us all to kind of like get into the game and then find like a nice rhythm with each other, I think. And I know that I built my character fully with the intent to just press every button, and I like knew Layla was gonna die. Like Adam asked me like what my core want was, and I was like, my core want is to see someone die. And that didn't happen, but like I went into this game with like the most chaotic, like let's die kind of a character. Yeah, and I feel like everyone else, we just like found this rhythm when the game started. And kudos to Adam for leading that. And then of course I was like, do you have a Ouija board?
Hell yeah. Oh my god, I was so happy.
I did not. I don't know what the fuck went on in that whole session was blocked out for most of us.
How awesome was that, though? I don't know. I couldn't get over that. I was so excited the next day to rewatch all of it just so I could see and hear what the characters you guys were doing if we weren't together. And it was so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Big fan of muting.
Absolutely. What's up, Metal Baby? And Mobster has a question for us. Mobster asked, who was what Scooby character archetype? So
I was Fred.
Yeah, Fred was Fred.
Yeah,
Fred was Fred. I know it's going to shock all of you.
Dude, who was the bimbo in the ascot?
No one will know.
Maybe the person that wants to, drive the van. Because I wasn't super close to the franchise, made my character. I'm gonna fuck up the name. I always mix them up. Mine was Daphne.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey!
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
It was like a variation on Velma. But I also didn't plan on being like final girl, but also yeah.
You did it.
My groupie girl Sage was a play on Shacky.
And I kept saying Dixie Doo instead of Dixie Poo.
I think or Dixie Boo.
Boo! There, see, I still have it wrong.
I did it too. I rewatched it. I definitely said Dixie Doo 1 or 2 times.
So it's a way to get dinged for copyright.
Yeah. Dixie Doo is a character in the franchise. It's Scooby's cousin. So,
I didn't know that.
So
One of
I looked it
many
up.
cousins.
We are going to get fucked for copyright.
So I named my little dog Dixie Boo, but messed that up a couple times. But.
I also the dog does survive. We didn't get to mention it, but the dog lived.
Yep.
Yeah. We
Yep.
talked about that after
after.
Yeah.
Just in case anyone like popped out, like couldn't stay for the entire thing or whatever. Dog lived.
Yeah.
I feel like that was one of our hard lines. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I feel like that was one of our...
Digital.
You go.
That was one of our hard lines and veils. I think that was one of them.
No dog deaths.
Oh yeah. I just had visions in the end. Then we didn't show this or talk about this, but this is what happened in my headcanon is that Dixie Boo came into the room, the hospital room at the end, and maybe growled, and then jumped up on someone's lap. And you see that she's fine.
Hell yeah. Well, so the part that was cut out was Fred and I were talking, and I don't know why. I just thought of like, do you think there's a Ouija board? I just wanted to poke something. I just did.
The Ouija board like started everything much sooner than I think Adam thought it was going to, which is really cool.
You all want a direct line.
That was really fun. Ed and I were just role playing, and I was like tearing down the cafe or what have you, and yeah, I just said like, do you think there's a Ouija board here? And Fred was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get one right now. And that's just how it started. Like there wasn't anything weird about it. And then yeah,
Besides,
I think I heard
2 people getting a Ouija board in a grocery store, one of whom should not be there.
that's true.
Or teenager. They're young adults.
Yeah. But yeah, and then it was really interesting everyone's character's point of view at the beginning of the story too. Like Vanna not needing to be there, like not knowing anyone, was a really cool angle, I thought. And I think you navigated it really well, Liz. So congrats.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Had you all ever been in situations like your kid? Like, did anybody go off of like situations that you've been in that kind of prompted how you wanted to introduce your character in that situation?
I mean, I certainly worked at a cafe before.
I used to work at Starbucks. So my instant was like, ah man, there's a dickish customer here. I gotta stay back and watch.
Yeah.
That was mine. But do you mean like when we were first introduced or when we first saw the baddie?
Oh, we're just like how you kind of like, where did you see yourself in terms of like your relation to other characters and like in relation to the store? Like, did anybody like sublimate any of their retail experiences in this?
Yeah, it hit home for me a few times. The retail experience. It was nice not having to pretend to be a retail and just bug people. But yeah, my favorite part about it was like a lot of us, we all talked about our relation to each other before the game started. And our characters at least. And that was like so much fun for me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ed and I got to have a cool conversation for a while, setting up our characters, which was nice for me. I didn't talk to anybody else but you, Ed, I believe. So at least I had that like familiar starting point, which was really nice. And then you guys, I mean, I know you. Or I have for a while, so that was easy. But I just met Ed and Ava's.
Yeah, so it was definitely helpful having like a thing to talk about.
Hey, Chelsea. Mobster also says, so Avis is the mystery machine. I don't know who Avis based their character off.
Avis, we actually talked a lot about that because they were like, yeah, I don't know who to base my character off of. I know literally nothing about Scooby-Doo.
They were the Gen Xer who's never seen Scooby-Doo.
I do remember that now that you say that. That's crazy. So crazy.
So they were like, so I jokingly said Scooby, and they're like, I don't think I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, that's fair. So they're like, I'm just gonna be what I was like. I'm just gonna be a really exhausted retail worker.
Adam says in the chat that Avis wanted to be the most average normal employee possible, which I do remember them saying over and over again when I kept poking to figure out how to draw their character, and they were just like, think about the most plain person you've ever met.
Once you go from like Ocean Inspector, like how do you top that? Like what is your next?
I know.
And I think obviously the next move is truly to evolve into like the most average retail worker you can. I think that's a challenge that Avis nailed.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of questions, like the questionnaire, and one of them was like, what do you do in your off time? And I think theirs was vape.
Yes.
They were very
and they're on time too. Didn't they like walk down an aisle and hit their pen?
Yeah, they did.
Yes. Yes. Well, cool. Yeah, for the sake of time, let's scoot to the dead body. So essentially what happened with the Ouija board is we were fucking around with it, and it said, I said, what's your name? And they spelled out Cole. And then I said, like, what the fuck? And then I was like, where are you? And they said the back. I forget what it's called. And so that's when we all went back there and we found the body. Which, Steph, your reaction was perfect to that. The screaming through the store, getting...
So good.
Yeah.
It was fun. I wanted to be like, I think we reversed roles where you wanted to be like that strong, tough, and that's not you. You were typically scared of scary things, and me, I'm the opposite. I love scary things and want to be that strong, tough person. But I also needed to play a character that was scared and afraid of things. So that was fun.
Yeah. And I also loved this is also I'm gonna change that train of thought. I loved Ed, just like calling the cops, and then Vanna being like, "You're calling the cops," and then like Avis being like, "What is happening?" It was just like chaos, and it was perfect. But I think like that's what would happen in that scenario. I think everyone did such a great job, and I was listening back and watching back these past 2 weeks as they've been like republished, and Adam does such a good job of just being like, "Okay, this is getting a little chaotic. Let's take this time by time," which I really loved because, yeah, of course it's going to be fucking chaos. We just found a dead body of our boss.
That was my favorite from like a fourth wall break standpoint. I admire the shit out of Adam for that.
Yeah.
His ability to like corral cats and like that's hard. One shots are hard. Yeah, it was really cool. Also, the way that he adapted the Jenga aspect to the way that we did that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That, like, I honestly, it was so good that like if I run my own, I don't know which I would, even if it's like in person, because like while the Jenga does have like you feel like you're doing it yourself, there's such this unpredictability and horror of like rolling the dice that made me so anxious each time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that he did a lot of math and calculating and rolling behind, the screen to figure out what the percentages were and things. It seemed very complicated to me as a non-mechanics person. I was like, someone just take it away. I don't want to know. But yeah, it's really cool. And then, so yeah, I grab some gloves and stick my finger into the cut wound. Again, I built this character to poke and to die. And sure enough, I die. Which I don't know if you all realize that, Liz and Ed. That's Layla died in that moment.
Yeah,
when she stuck her finger in there.
I had no idea.
And then,
Yeah.
dominoes fell, and then I died because Layla died.
Which was amazing for me because Adam told me in that moment, he was like, your sole goal right now is to get someone else alone. And I was like, okay. And he's like, your spirit is stuck to this place. So if you wanted to try to like manipulate something or help people, you could. But right now, as like this new thing that you are inside your body, your goal is to get someone else alone.
It's so cool. And I love that mute factor because I had no idea, none, that you had even stuck your finger into a dead body because I had run screaming out of there. And it was, I just love that. It's awesome.
Yeah. I want to hear about the generator team. And I just remember Steph and I watching you all freaking out.
Your faces.
While we were muted. I didn't know what was happening. Listening back, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gold.
It was like this so scary. Oh my God. Like, at least for me, because like Fred was a wannabe ghost chaser, and he was expecting this thing, like his parents are ghost chasers, and he doesn't really talk to his parents, and the only time he really hears about them is through their exaggerated stories of like and they're basically the actual Scooby game. So he assumed it was going to be like an episode of Scooby-Doo. And then he had the hard reality of, oh, someone's dead. So he was very much trying to pretend to be this cool ghost-like person, like ghost-chasing person, mystery-solving dude. And so he kept on trying to pretend to be a leader he really didn't feel like. So to like that, which was one of the reasons that I was like, okay, we're just gonna do this thing, and then we're gonna do that thing, and we're just gonna go.
Yeah. Thanks for the follow, Personal Pan Pizza.
Oh, thank you for the follow.
I really like Edgar Wright, like Shaun of the Dead type horror. I like that mixture of like really mundane horror that is also kind of funny. And so that whole scene where we were like, this is unreal. This is fucking horrible. This is graphic. This is also absurd. Oh, now we're being chased. And now we're parkouring over boxes. This is absurd and horrifying, but absurd. And so I really appreciated that like everybody really got that kind of vibe that we were going for. And like there was an element of like goofiness and absurdity to it, but it was also like really tense and horrifying. And there was a minute there where like I think I was like a little bit white knuckled and like nervous for how we were going to kind of pull through it, which was exciting. I don't know that I feel that much in games, so that was super cool.
Yeah, I just remember listening back, like one of the biggest standouts for me in that section was like, to that point, Adam's ability to just in the manner of how he was speaking as like the GM to make Avis be like, no, that was too close to a jump scare. I can't like, and seeing their reaction to like him just bringing forth the story, that was a really, really awesome
Adam
moment.
I was so legitimately scared. It was great.
Here's the thing though too. Adam is like the nicest guy. He's just approachable and like sincere, and like seeing that portrayal was so chilling. And I know he's a very good GM. Like I am aware of this. I just it hasn't been a side that I have really seen, and that was startling.
Yeah,
but I loved it.
Yeah, this was my first like game where Adam was the DM, and like horrifying, wonderful. He's very good. I definitely want to play a game with him again.
Yeah. Well, the generator crew is, you go up to the generator, you find another dead body, you are parkouring, running away from this creature, and you decide you're going to go to the security office to try to look at footage about what is going on. While Steph and I are going to investigate the front doors, which was totally just a bullshit thing that I pulled because I was told to get someone alone.
Sage was so trusting.
Yeah, it was really, really awesome. And as soon as I was like, I'm going to let these doors close behind me, and we were stuck between like the interior and the exterior sliding doors of this bargain largan, my imagination was just so visceral. And Steph, you had like seen that thing outside and like seen my eyes turn red. I was like, Sage is going to react to that. But you played it such the Shaggy way. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. It was so great.
Oh, that was fun.
Then you rolled too high and I didn't get to nab you. So I made up another thing about going to find clothes because we were cold in the snowstorm. And sure enough, I was able to eat you. And then I disappeared from the game.
I'm so
You were
excited.
dead that whole time.
Yeah.
I was a creature inside Layla's body. Yeah.
Yeah. Who got to me, and then I was a creature in Sage's body when you saw me again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you all reconvened in the security office.
Oh, that was so brutal.
Oh, I felt really bad for Fred and Sage's really good friendship in that moment. I was like, oh gosh. But you rolled high enough, right? You didn't.
Yeah, we all rolled high. Oh my god, though, that was so
Yeah. From there, it's just like this cascade of rolling ball effect that I feel like probably happens in a lot of games of Dread, where like Vanna goes to get duvet covers because you all are cold, and Fred and oh my gosh, why can't I think of Avis's character's name? Alex go and get like heaters and things, and you're gonna go hold up in the bathroom, and then it turns into like a sprint, and you see Layla's face spread over a mannequin head, and like something grabs Fred, and then Vanna and Alex think that you made it out, and then a tornado comes in a snowstorm. Chaos.
It was like, did you ever see what is it, 10 Cloverfield Lane? Where shit just goes from like bad to worse. I don't want to spoil it. Just if you 10 Cloverfield Lane, I think I liked better than like the other Cloverfield movies, but it's a very like, or Barbarian. Yeah. If you haven't seen Barbarian, also that is another like,
so good.
This sucks. Oh,
I watched that this weekend. I was like, what the fuck is happening in this movie?
Whoa, this is so fucked. Oh, this is so much more fucked.
Yes.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it because of that.
It's that like out of the frying pan into the fire type like horror.
Into the lava.
Yeah.
Into the lava. Yeah. Well,
I'm so glad Fred died. I made him to die. I'm so glad he died.
You almost made it.
Almost.
I did. I was going to be like, is Fred going to live? And then he died at the most dramatic second. I'm like, yes.
That is the conclusion of the Dread stream. That's everything that happened in the one shot. It happened so quickly. It was so much fun. And if you have any questions for Steph or about Dread, please put them in the chat now. I'm going to vamp a little bit before we let Steph go because spoilers for Utopia as we dive into those episodes. So yeah, did I miss anything? Do we want to talk about anything else from the stream?
Just a quick thank you, if I can, to Sarah from Girls Runs These Worlds, who like helped us produce that night. And like helped us with the dice rolling and like all the technical aspects. And I think it made a lot of what we did that night was so much easier. And they came on kind of short notice, and thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Hands down. So nice to not have to do that and play or it's
But yeah, which also gives us like your attention to play and
yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Steph, and thank you for playing with us.
Thank you. That was so much fun. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Bye.
Steph, I'll see you Thursday. Friday.
Friday.
Awesome. Now we dive into Utopia. So we're up to episode 61 to chat about. So in episode 61, wait, hold on, I gotta do my math. 8, 9, 61. Does the crown fit? You all have safely, with satyr in bag, maneuvered your way through the city, through the gardens, and this is where we find the party before they split directions. Scylla and Livy and Ziba and the satyr woman heading back towards the carousel court, and Adam and Godfrey and Morgus heading back towards the houseboat. You have spotted Ziba's family at this point. Scylla's doing a lot of steering of the child. Livy still has this half awake woman in a bag trying to bite him every time he puts his hand in to allow her to breathe.
Great.
All of this is a crime in the making. Like, if you were to look at this party right now.
Oh, man. And
jail for
so
all of
much
us.
you head back to the carousel court. I'm really curious. This is about when I coined the term burping the baby. It took me this long. You all hated it from the moment it happened. And this is my moment to apologize. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. You're not
No.
sorry.
Here's the thing, I'll forgive, but I'm not going to forget.
So yes, you have done all of this. You head into the carousel court. Livy and Ziba head to the main room where they find Weaver alone, aside from Ulu. Scylla heads to Ulu. And I know we talked about this offline, Liz, about that choice for Scylla. But can you talk about why you chose not to head to the main room with Livy and Ziba and the satyr woman, and why you went and chat with Ulu as Scylla?
Scylla did not want to bring this woman in a bag, and it effectively, you made your bed, lie in it. Welcome to the court, pay your dues. I'm not your minder, although, spoilers, I mean, at the time, I was nobody's minder. And listen, one of them was an adult.
Arguably. Arguably, Livy is an adult.
Says the man who plays him. Livy.
Yeah.
Work it out.
Livy is a very, very smart man.
Hmm.
He doesn't have the highest wisdom.
Still wanted to see how smart.
I mean, y'all did okay, and they're not here to speak for it, but there's in the back and forth between the two parties, there's this flash of conversation between Godfrey and Morgus where Godfrey's like, they wouldn't be silly enough to place the crown on her head, would they?
Oh, yeah, we were.
Then sure enough, 5 sentences of convincing from me as Weaver, you're like, okay, this seems fine. I loved it. Were you nervous at all as Livy in that moment, Ed, as you watched Weaver go to take this crown and put it on this woman's head?
I mean, before when we were talking about it, I was like, it's probably not going to work. I checked, and then I'm like, wait, why am I doing this? Oh, God. But I couldn't back out now. It was like when your friends, when you were a kid, dared you to jump off something really high. And, you're really confident until you have to jump. But you can't not jump.
Yeah.
That's how that felt to me. I also just wanted to really press the red button.
I also love that, Ziva was arguing about even giving the crown to Weaver, or like saying that Ziva she had the crown, you know, like it was just a funny moment of. And the reason I posed that question first to you, Liz, is because knowing that about Scylla, knowing that Scylla was just like, well, make your bed, I don't care, makes it an even more impactful moment.
Well, so here's the thing though about that is like, yeah, it's handle your shit, but it's not necessarily for lack of caring. Like, I don't know, knowing what Scylla does about Weaver and her care for the court, it's not the kind of thing that she would do if she didn't have a little bit of trust in the situation. Like, if it really wasn't something that she had a handle on. Although, I mean, did I, as the player, Liz, really think that through? No, fuck no.
Yeah. And Livy trusts Scylla, and Scylla, like, trusted Weaver. So Livy's like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, it ended up being fine. It was all fine. You all
fine.
Get some good lore dumps from Weaver. You find out why she's in the court by herself. Godfrey and Morgus go out to dinner at the Drunken Stump. And yeah, it all turns out perfectly well. And then there's this somewhat tense conversation between Scylla and Ulu that happens, where Scylla kind of starts talking about how she's starting to feel better. And Ulu takes it in an interesting way. Interesting's not a proper word in that moment, but I remember having to cut out, I think both of us, Liz, going, oof, after we roleplayed that section.
I think there was a lot of like, wow, that and we're aware of like where that can go, where that particular like plot can go, but like also like it is a little bit of a gut punch when it does. And that's what I want out of it, but also like, oof.
Yeah.
How do you as Ulu, like, I think we talked about like the speed of things, but was Ulu surprised at this, or like, do you think she had an inkling that like this is?
I think you're done with that thought. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I was done with that thought.
Okay. I think that Ulu noticed Scylla getting back. I mean, Scylla accepted new armor and wants new, like, that's huge. And Ulu realizes that from her time of knowing Scylla since she's been with the court. I think that Ulu just thought that Scylla was getting better, that like time heals all wounds kind of adage, not like, oh, it didn't hit her until that conversation that it was like, oh, this isn't something that I could have ever done for her. You know? And I think that's what hit the hardest. Like, she doesn't care one way or the other. She's happy that you feel better, but she's still hurt by the fact that like she, as someone who very much cares about you, couldn't help you get there.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, Ulu.
Ulu.
I meant to bring this up a while ago, but Liz, do you remember episodes ago when we were talking about like the gods, and Livy was like trying to be diplomatic, and Scylla was like, no, Mashiria's real, the others aren't, and it broke his brain. I was talking to my partner about that, and they grew up in a really religious background, and I did not. And they're like, oh, wow, they played that really well. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, that's just kind of how it is. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they were explaining that to me. And I just wanted to say how well you role played that. By an extra explanation for me.
My partner. Thank you. Thank your partner for me. Same. Like, I did not come up with a super religious background, and so I try to play some of these things really carefully. But I also grew up around people who, when I was like not really feeling one way or another about any kind of spiritualism, were very much, yeah, no, that's how it is. My dad's side of the family was like super one way about things, and it was very much like, no, this is it. This is, and so yeah, that's what that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks.
Yeah. I my mother's Jewish. My dad is whatever his partner happens to be at that time. So, and like both of and all of the families I've grown up around care little to nothing about religion. And then I moved to the South and got very confused very quickly.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, people really care about this thing, huh? This whole religious thing.
Well, you all get through all of the turmoil of that. Ziba heads to bed. Weaver takes her some cookies and a sandwich and some milk. Scylla finds a nice place to rest with the satyr woman. And we have another one of those sentimental moments between Livy and Ziba in the same room that it happened before, but with character growth, which I think is like such a cool like echo from like earlier in the campaign, where Livy really tries to just like get Scylla to talk about her feelings and what she's doing, and Ziba is hiding under the bed. Yeah, that was so good. It was a really awesome RP moment from the both of you. I love eating those moments up as a DM. I'm just like, here we go.
God, Avis is so good as Zilla. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
Very good as a
Ziba.
Ziba. Bleh.
It's an ongoing joke now.
It's fine.
Zilla. Ziba.
Lua.
Yeah, and then we have this awesome moment that is one of the very few like very curated planned moments of the stream that came from a conversation that I had with Avis around mechanics that we haven't seen yet at all, even in like where we are for recording, that I'm really excited for people to see and engage with. But her grandfather, one of her ancestral guardians, comes and swings around her sword and confuses her a little bit. And Avis also played that very well, knowing that it was happening, but like pretending that she didn't, like as Ziba, that Ziba did not understand what was going on. So yeah, also great. You guys are awesome.
You're awesome.
You're awesome. Yeah.
Wah! Well, the next episode, we're all guardians. You all make it through that rest, and you start to process, what to do next, what to do with the satyr woman. And Godfrey and Morgus are like, remember Godfrey being like, well, I'm nervous. Why didn't they come home last night? And Morgus being like, I didn't expect them to come home. It has started raining, and you decide to take the satyr woman to the homestead. It's great time. You all walk over there. Was there any reservations at that point of like separating her from the party? Or
Yes. So Livy doesn't like the homestead for personal reasons. And he really didn't want to put someone in the homestead where, especially someone as important as the satyr woman, where they couldn't watch her and she could do whatever. But like also he didn't know what else, like they didn't have a house at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't just like, Weaver didn't want her there.
Mm-hmm.
What else could they do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I still at the time I think was like we can't have her at the court. We need to put her somewhere that is not the town guard or the cops. But I think, again, like spoilers, maybe not the best in hindsight, given the situation, but also like very short term, like here just until we reconvene and figure out what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. It was also a cool lore drop moment, learning for everyone about like Utopia and Strickmonish and the investment in healthcare and the training and all of that. That I don't know that I would have ever had to whip out. Like it was there, the nugget was in my brain to share, but I don't know that I would have had any reason if you all hadn't
That
decided.
sort of thing is super important to me anyway. So the fact that we were able to go down and explore that a little bit was really cool. I think the way that you approached it in terms of like how it's built into your world was really nice. And I think how everybody kind of played to it was also really well done.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, you all make it there. You do end up turning her over. A nice woman takes her up, and Libby, there's a sentimental moment.
Sentimental.
Yeah, sentimental. Where you, as like the attendant is taking the satyr woman away, you're like, get her paper, get her something to draw on. Which, knowing now that I did not know that like Livy had misgivings, so knowing now brings it into like a even more sentimental light.
Yeah. After Livy's parents passed away, they had a very bad depressive episode, and I think people kept on trying to get them into the homestead,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of made their mental health a little bit worse.
Yeah.
I had I had a very bad depressive episodes years and years ago, and I had to go to a hospital for it. And it kind of made my depression worse. So I was kind of pulling a lot from that. How sometimes institutions can accidentally, even with the best intentions, make people's problems, which you should still get treated for, and you should still seek depression. It's just I happen to live in the South, and they're not the best.
I think especially if we look at like real world examples of it, like this was very much in a utopia, real world
Yes.
examples of mental health care and hospitalizations. Like it is so valid to have reservations about,
Yeah, Livy's reservations are not rational. They come from a very traumatic part in his life. Do you know how like obviously Livy is not a dog, like I had sometimes we misplace anger and fear into the thing trying to help us during traumatic moments, and that's basically what happened with Livy. Was he went through a terrible portion of his time, and instead of blaming, like not blaming, but like understanding like why he had to be like why someone would want him to be at this place, he rationalized it, and is like this place is now like a fear for him. It's like a phobia of like, oh, if you get that bad again, you're going to be sent here. It's almost like a punishment to him more than like an institution of health and healing, which is not rational. But that's like how his brain operates on this place. Which makes him very uncomfortable because he's a very rational person, or at least he tries to be. So understanding that this is a fear of his, and he understands that while still not being able to go get over it. I'm not sure if I was able to roleplay that correctly, especially with Livy, because he tends to shut down when he's scared or overwhelmed. But yeah, that's how I roleplayed it.
I think you did great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. We are now at the part of the stream where we focus entirely on questions. So if you have any questions for any of us, put them in the chat and we'll answer them for sure. And if you all have any questions for me and vice versa, this is the fun question round of Monthly Minutes.
Now that you have done a one-shot with Dread, what other types of like settings or kind of like vibes do you want to play in for one-shots?
Oh my gosh, all of them. I want to play in all of the vibes of the one. I want to play in a Thirsty Sword lesbian campaign. I want to play in a Wanderhome campaign. I want to play in a Nightcrawler campaign. I want to play in all of the campaigns. Can I play in your campaigns? Stream watchers? Can I play? Yeah, but I also want to lead games in a lot of those settings too. So see what happens with that.
I'm very excited to someday DM a game on here.
Yeah. Didn't we talked? What is that game? Don't ask Alice. Alice is missing. Everyone
is John.
Alice is missing.
Alice is missing. We talked about doing that one in the Discord.
Yeah. Oh, I want to play Alice is missing so bad.
Oh, Nettle Baby, you get to play Thirsty Sword Lesbians on a stream?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
December 23rd.
Heck yes. I'm a little jealous.
That's cool shit.
Who's just here?
Yeah.
I'm playing, but our first big bad evil guy is scheduling. So
Ooh,
yeah.
love that.
Sometime in January.
We could make such a meta game where the big bad is the real world.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Time itself.
Whoa. Whoa. Yeah. I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
What do you think would be your character's go-to vacation spot in the real world?
Appalachian Mountains, a little cabin with like a giant bookshelf, just reading and relaxing.
Nice.
I think Scylla's going to tell people she's gone really far away, but is just at home. Like, no, I think she just, like, her idea of, like, a vacation is being somewhere nobody knows where the fuck she is and expects her to be somewhere else so that she can just slop out on the couch.
Yeah, I feel that on a very deep level.
Yeah. That's too much. It's too close. Too close.
I imagine still like getting an Airbnb.
Yeah.
House across the street.
like the one she can't afford to rent, but like can do a night in like Airbnb.
Yeah.
Whatever like fantasy equivalent of like Airbnb is. Which is obviously
Airbnb is just like actual like boats in the air. Like,
you all really want to have a boat adventure. You and
yes,
Adam.
Obviously. Yes. It'll be great. People will have fun. Livy will be like in a horrible nightmare. It'll be hilarious.
I'd sink straight to the bottom. Night sink. I would go bloop.
All that armor? All that height?
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
There's this game I really like, Dragon Age Inquisition, and people were asking like, why can't my Inquisitor swim? And they're like, you're wearing armor. You're wearing lots of armor.
Yeah.
What do you think would happen if you wore armor? And they're like, but I wish to swim. They're like, okay.
That reminds me about an evil DM thought I had the other day.
Oh no.
It's just us on the channel. You want to share it with us?
Heat metal.
Oh,
the only person it impacts is Scylla.
You would only pull that shit because I pull that shit with Rare Trick.
Oh, geez. Well, if you are hanging out and you have enjoyed everything, thank you. You stuck around the whole time. Way to go. Gold star.
It's so good.
Yeah. We're going to do this once a month. We talk about all the episodes that have come out in that month. And wait, what Adam says, you did also give a big warning about heat metal. So, yeah, I did. So everyone take off all their armor now.
Just strip.
Thank you. We're on literally all the socials now. Some of them have changed to Automoon Studio, so search us there before you search anything else.
Yes, social medias have indeed changed.
They have indeed changed
A lot.
and we hope that you will stick around, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.